Aloha, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to another week of Trauma Recovery University. Tonight's topic is twofold. We are actually going to be talking about two topics tonight. One is in the comments, and it is titled Attachment. The second topic that we're going to be talking about tonight, as it's relevant to our survivor community right now, currently, is suicide. I realize we've already done an episode on suicide, but we are going to be touching on that topic again as we unpack everything regarding attachment and suicide in tonight's broadcast. So without further ado, I think I'm just going to dive right in, and you may be wondering why we're going to be covering suicide, and you may even be wondering, what is attachment? I put a very, very, very lengthy and understandable, comprehensive description of what attachment is in case you're just curious about this video and you're really just not sure what's up with it. But if you're interested in sitting with us for the next 60 minutes and talking about attachment and how it affects us in our recovery journey as adults who have experienced childhood sexual abuse, as well as various other types of child abuse, and talking about some current events in our survivor community as it pertains to suicide, then we would love for you to stay with us tonight. I'm Athena Moberg, and my esteemed colleague, Bobby Parrish, who is a therapist and just an amazing trauma recovery coach. We are your hosts tonight, and we are so excited to just be bringing you this real and raw information. I'm scouring the internet, and I'm not really finding a lot of other things other than some other incredible YouTubers that are, I'm not finding as many resources as I would like that are tackling these really tough issues that are relevant to adult survivors of child abuse, specifically childhood sexual abuse. So all of that, as well as just a welcome to anyone that is tuning in on a podcast platform. If you have found us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, or even iHeartRadio, we want to welcome you. Thank you for tuning in to listen or to view us. And as a thank you for being one of our loyal subscribers or viewers or listeners or just an awesome survivor, we would love to give you complimentary access to tonight's PDF downloadable resource. And that can be found over at traumarecoveryuniversity.com. And at the top, or somewhere right there on that homepage, you will find a button that says Downloadables. If you click that, you'll be taken to an area to enter your information and be given instant access to tonight's PDF downloadable resource titled Attachment. What is it and how does it affect our recovery journey as adults who have survived childhood abuse? So we also have a bonus resource tonight. If you haven't watched our episode on suicide, we're going to bring that up as well. So I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Bobby. But before I do that, I want to say a very, very sincere aloha to our UK family. They tune in every single week, and it is 2 o'clock in the morning there, and we are so incredibly appreciative of our growing UK audience. For you specifically, Bobby is going to talk about RAIN.org and for our US population and how they can reach out and get support during crisis or if they're in need. I am going to be sharing information for our UK crowd specifically and our friends in Ireland also. So for you, you're going to reach out to the Samaritans, and they can be found at samaritans.org. You're probably very familiar with them already if you are in the UK and Ireland. And they can't provide an online chat feature on their website yet, as far as I know, as far as I can tell, but they are offering support when you email this one particular person named Joe. So if you need support right now and you're in Ireland or anywhere in the UK, please email jo@samaritans.org, or you can dial 116-123 from Ireland or anywhere in the UK. And Bobby is going to go ahead and issue a trigger warning for all of these topics and talk about rain.org. And the letters HOPE are 4673 on your telephone. Bobby, take it away, Bobby.
Okay, so big trigger warning for tonight. Attachment is a complicated issue, and it is also a difficult one because it's very treatment resistant. But I think the even bigger issue that we're going to talk about tonight that might be triggering is suicide. So if you are in crisis, or if you're triggered by what we're talking about tonight, first and foremost, just go ahead and stop the video or pause the video. Or if you're watching us live, just walk away. Close your computer down and walk away. The video will be up on our YouTube channel within a matter of a couple of hours after the broadcast. So you can come back to it. This isn't your only chance. Please don't hesitate to walk away. There's no need for you to feel distressed. If you're in the U.S., if you're in crisis, or you need help urgently, reach out to RAIN, the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, and they are at 1-800-656-HOPE. And Athena, I have already forgotten what HOPE is.
That's okay. It is 1-800-656-4673.
That amazes me.
I know. I forget every single week. It's not in my permanent hard drive. It's only in my RAM, and I am running out of RAM. So
I think it's just because it makes no sense to me. Hope makes sense. I can spell hope. I can't spell 467313.
4673. You did it.
Hey, I did it.
I want to say hello to Simi, and I want everybody to know that I don't have my new phone like up and running all awesome yet. I really should be on the iPad. It's going in and out. It says no service. So if I miss your tweets tonight, this is a live interactive broadcast, by the way, and I forgot to mention that in our intro. But please know that I love you guys all very dearly, even if I don't acknowledge your tweets, because I can't. So I really quick, I know Bobby and I were meeting before tonight's episode, and we wanted to talk about how we were going to just talk with you all about what's been going on this week in our survivor community. Tonight's topic of attachment, we do have an incredible downloadable one-page resource that is very comprehensive. We will likely be talking a lot more about suicide and then maybe go a little bit long and talk about attachment. If this broadcast is too long for you, feel free to fast forward to when you see the one-page resource, or just go to traumarecoveryuniversity.com and then click on downloadables. We don't want, if you're not a member of this community that has been drastically and deeply affected by the death of one of our community members, which happened via suicide, then we want to be respectful of your time and warn you in advance, hey, we're all about full disclosure. This is really rocking our world over here, and we're going to be talking about it. And we would love for you to join us, and we would love to welcome you into our community and just love on you and be a part of your own personal survivor recovery journey. So please follow the instructions down below the video, friend us, whatever. I do want to just take a moment. I have a screen share that I just want to share with everybody. We want to dedicate tonight's broadcast to our dear friend Soledad Medrano and those that have survived her, that she has left behind. And I have a screen share here just with an awesome, beautiful, beautiful picture of our dear friend here, one of my favorite photos of her. And I just want to share with you guys how grateful, first of all, that I am for each and every one of you. Bobby and I started working with all of you over a year ago. Gosh, it'll be I don't even know how many months, but
August 27th, 2014.
Yeah. And we're really grateful for each and every one of you. Each of you touch our lives in a very meaningful, impactful way. And I don't want you to miss this. I don't want you to ever walk away from one of our broadcasts and not know that you are deeply cared about. And we see you, we hear you, we love you, and we may not be walking in your shoes and living with your pain and living your life, but we have our survivorhood in common. And the reason that you're even here is because you know what it's like to have your innocence stolen and your trust betrayed by those closest to you, or by someone who pretended to befriend you, or what have you. So I want to dedicate tonight's broadcast to our dear sweet soul, Soledad. And I want each of you guys to know that you can message us, friend us, find us, reach out to us. Please utilize the resources we give you. Please call RAIN at 1-800-656-4673. If you are in crisis, please reach out to the Samaritans. Call them at 116-123. Please reach out to the Suicide Network, which we're going to be giving you the Suicide National Network's information here in just a few minutes. And please know that if you're struggling with something and you are feeling all alone and like there is no way out and that no one understands, we promise you that even if we don't understand, we will listen and we will care, and we will do all we can to make sure that you are supported and cared for, and that you feel valid and important, because you are.
You know, I think one of the reasons why our journey is so painful is because we get so little understanding from the rest of the world. You know, hearing that she had died by suicide on Friday was just devastating. And what was more devastating to me was the thought that perhaps she felt completely alone and misunderstood in this world. And I can tell you with certainty that Athena and I have both been there. And our society does not make it easy for survivors of childhood abuse, and especially survivors of childhood sexual abuse, because that topic is just so uncomfortable. And people are going to tell you, why don't you just get over it? People are going to tell you suicide is a permanent problem to a temporary solution. People are going to say, oh, you just want attention when you say, I feel suicidal. You're going to get judged. And all of that makes it that much harder for us to reach out, to feel understood, and to feel like we have hope. But I tell you this, and I assure you of this, that there is no hell that you can go to, that you can fall into, that you can be sucked into, that Athena and I have not been to ourselves. And that we will not voluntarily go to again to get you back. Okay? So if you feel like you are in the darkest place in the whole wide world, I assure you that we will come and find you, and we will get you out of there if you reach out to our community. Because, damn it, we've been there. And we know how isolating, and we know how you get into that dark place that is filled with smoke, and you can't see anyone, and you can't possibly believe that anyone else is there, and you can't possibly believe that anyone would voluntarily come there to help you. But we will. Because we've been there. I attempted suicide, it's been 21 years now. And I was determined. And I won't go through the details because that's not important. But as I was sitting there in the middle of my plans, my mother called me. Okay, my mother, the one person who you should be able to reach out to and talk to about these things. And we chatted. For some reason, I don't know, we were talking about some parade. That's all I remember. We were talking about some parade and hot air balloons. And I had a chatty conversation with her like there was nothing wrong in the world. And I put down the phone and I finished all of my plans. Because I had lost hope. That was it. I was done. And it wasn't just I had lost hope. It was I had lost hope and found a sense of impending relief. So if you think we don't get it, we get it. We get it. And I know that Athena has been there to the edge of that awful place herself as well.
Several times.
So I don't care how many people surround you and say the horrible, worst things in the world to you about how maybe no one wants you, maybe no one understands, whatever. I don't care. They're wrong. They're just wrong. And you have not yet found the place with the right people. And we're not all that. We're not heroes. But I swear to you, we have a community of the most loving and understanding people that I have worked with in my life as either a therapist or a survivor going through my own recovery journey. And if you reach out, we'll help you find hope. And if we can't find any for you at that moment and you can't hold on to it, we'll hold it for you until you can hold on to it to yourself. So please, before you get to that point where hope is lost and suicide seems like a relief, reach out. Okay? Reach out to us, reach out to the Samaritans, reach out to RAIN, reach out to the National Suicide Crisis Hotline. I'm going to give you that number here in a minute. Every year, 40,000 people die by suicide. Let's not let there be one more.
I forgot to mention, Bobby, the SPSM chat, which is on Sundays. I forget what time it's at now because I have different time zone issues over here. But the suicide prevention through social media is a Twitter chat. And I know that a lot of you are from our Twitter family. And I really just want to plug everything that Doc is doing over there, and Bart and Tony, just all those awesome, incredible people at Suicide Prevention via social media. If you want to find out more about the suicide prevention through social media weekly Twitter chat, it's on Sundays, and you can go on Twitter, type in the hashtag S like Sam, P like Peter, S like Sam, M like Mary. So suicide prevention social media, hashtag SPSM. And they're just doing incredible things. They're a whole entire community of caregivers that are just sold out to do anything they possibly can to reach people and make sure that not one more life is taken. So a little plug there, definitely not planned, but I feel strongly about this, you guys. I mean, my cousin committed suicide when I was, 20-something. And I didn't find out for several months. I was told by one of my abusers who met up with me for lunch at a El Pollo Loco, and I got told that my cousin killed himself I got told in an El Pollo Loco parking lot on my lunch break from work. Super awesome timing. So, I want to apologize right now for the members of our community that are just now finding out about Soledad. I see a whole bunch of tweets coming in and people are shocked, and I'm so sorry to be delivering such uh, delicate and horrible and permanent news to you on a YouTube video or whatever. But I'm thankful that you're here with us. I'm thankful that you're hearing this from us, and that you're here, and that we're here to support you and love you. And uh, I'm gonna stop screen sharing here, and in a moment. And I just want to look at you guys. I just want to look at you. This is a really big deal, okay, guys? And I know that a lot of us that are survivors of horrific child abuse of any kind, specifically sexual abuse, I know that we sort of romanticize the suicide thing a lot. I'm speaking for myself. I know that I may not be actively suicidal on a regular basis, like planning, okay, let me find a way to purchase pills, or let me see if I can purchase a gun, or maybe if I buy a rope or whatever. I don't fantasize about it and plan it out like I'm actually planning my own suicide. I'm thinking of Stu right now, because Stu actually it just got certified to be an assist trainer, and assist is actually, I got trained in suicide prevention through assist, and so he's actually a trainer now. If you guys, you need to perhaps, his name is Stu Last Chance on social media, and he actually trains people on suicide prevention, and I feel so grateful for my suicide prevention training. Just when I do get a chance to employ it. And I didn't get an opportunity to employ those skills, obviously, at this point, because we've lost Soledad. But I want you to know that while I'm not actively suicidal, I can only speak for myself, but I have to believe that there are many of you out there that are watching this that are like, wow, I kind of understand what she's talking about. I do romanticize it. I do. Sometimes I think to myself, well, I raised my son, and he's an awesome human being, and he's married now, and I have a great husband, and he's awesome, but he's just fine. Like, he'll be fine. And I'm not really close with any of my family anymore, because many of them are abusive or personality disordered, or we're just estranged, or our relationship is healthy enough because we have boundaries. And I sort of think, it wouldn't be so bad. And like, if something happened, that wouldn't be so bad, because then I wouldn't have to sort of be in recovery anymore, because being in recovery is really difficult. And I can just hear all of the Christian peeps out there right now, like, oh, but she's a Christian, and she loves Jesus, and she loves God, and how can she say those things? And I'm telling you that suicidal ideation and everything that goes along with recovery from horrific abuse is not a respecter of persons. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care where you're from, first world, third world, fifth world. I don't care if you're a Christian or a Buddhist or a Muslim or what you are. If you've been through it and you've been to that place, it is highly likely that you've had some sort of ideation. Bobby, what are your comments on that topic?
Definitely. And people misunderstand the reason why we consider suicide, why people consider suicide. It's not really about, can you see me, or did I lose my video feed?
Oh no, I can see you perfect.
Okay, there I am.
Yeah.
It's the reason that people want to commit suicide is in order not to feel pain anymore. It's not about punishing someone for being mean to us. It's not about attention grabbing. It's not even about not wanting to live. It's about not wanting to be in excruciating pain anymore. And I think I shared this on the suicide video, but I'm going to share it again, because this is the most powerful visual and auditory reminder or analogy I've ever heard about why people commit suicide. And it ties back to 9/11, and when the World Trade Towers were on fire and they were getting ready to collapse, and you could horrifically see people jumping from the towers because they did not want to burn alive. Now, you can't tell me that the conscious thought went through their head, wow, this is really bad, I choose not to live, and they jumped out the window. No, all they knew is that they were burning alive. They were in intense pain and they needed relief. Unfortunately for them, relief and death meant the same thing. And for those of us who were in intense emotional pain, and remember, the brain cannot tell the difference between physical pain and emotional pain. Okay, and people forget that. They don't give us the grace of understanding that emotional pain can be fierce. You know, if someone's just had open heart surgery and they complain of pain, what do? You give them more pain medication. You don't tell them, suck it up, buttercup. Yet when someone's in intense emotional pain, more often than not, that's what our society does.
Especially due to trauma to the brain, which is what we've experienced. And I have to point out that the brain is an organ just like the heart is an organ.
Yeah. But the sympathy and understanding just isn't there. Our society hasn't moved past the stigma of mental illness, and certainly hasn't moved past the stigma of childhood sexual abuse.
I have to believe that we're on our way, you guys. I have to believe that we're making a difference just by recording these episodes, because 50 years ago, there were no cancer walks. You never spoke of cancer if you got cancer because it was a shame to your family and because you must have done something to deserve it. God was punishing you with cancer. And the only reason he would punish you is if you did something wrong. So fast forward 50 years and we have like National Cancer Day, and we have, you know, Susan B. Komen and this ribbon and that ribbon and this walk and that walk and relay and the American Cancer Society. And I mean, my cousin is the volunteer coordinator for Orange County, California, and goes around and gets people to do in-kind donations and monetary donations and yard sales and all kinds of fun events to raise money for cancer. That is what she does. What Bobby and I are doing here with survivors, that's what my cousin does with cancer, because she lost her mother to cancer, and that is where her purpose lies. Now, had that been 50 years ago, no one even spoke about cancer. I mean, like our great grandparents, are you kidding me? Like even some of our grandparents, depending on how old they were, there was no talk of that. Oh, no, you don't air your dirty laundry. Like, we will handle this in our family. No one needs to know about this. And I know that that's the stigma that we have with childhood sexual abuse. Part of the reason, which we've discussed on previous broadcasts, is because families they don't want to admit the fact that there's a pedophile in their family or an abuser in their family.
Or if they aren't in their family, they don't want to admit that perhaps they allowed their child to be in a situation which was not safe.
Yes, exactly. Because then they feel guilty. Guilty. So, but you guys, I feel like we're growing leaps and bounds here, because here we are talking about it openly, and we're recording this, and this video is not ever going to go away. Like, this video is going to stay. My grandbabies are going to see our YouTube channel someday. You know, like, I know that what we're doing is lasting. I get it. But I really just want people to know how important it is that we talk about these things. Healthy communication is a really big deal. So, and it's actually part of our one page tonight. Healthy communication is part of our attachment one page tonight. And I know that we're sort of jumping from suicide talk, and we're going to jump over to attachment right now, and then we're going to come back and we're probably going to talk about suicide. But Bobby, how would you like to do that? Would you like to do suicide one page first or attachment one page first?
Let's segue into attachment for a bit, because as you and I talked about before the broadcast, I think that the lack of a capacity to attach for us as suicide survivors, wow, oh yeah, that was a Freudian slip, as survivors of childhood abuse, contributes significantly to the pain that we feel as adults. Because like you and I talk about, we were created, we have an innate human need to be in relationship with other people. And yet for those of us who were abused when we were very young, attachment occurs between the ages of birth and 3. So if we were abused, neglected, our needs were not met when we were very young, we don't have the capacity to attach and have healthy relationships like other people do. And when you don't have the capacity to do something that you are built and created to do, that you need to do in order to be happy and feel connected in this world. I can't tell you, and I know, Athena, that you've heard this a million times too. I can't tell you how many survivors I have talked to, and one I talked to just this last weekend. And she said, and there I was sitting in this room full of people, and they were all happy, and they were having fun, and they were eating, and they were drinking, and they were just happy. And I felt like a fish out of water.
Like I was all alone in a crowd full of people.
Yeah, all alone in a crowd full of people. That is part of our inability to attach and feel like we are a part of the world, and not just a part, but a valuable part.
And there's another piece to it, Bobby, that we didn't even discuss prior to the broadcast, but I wanted to touch briefly on before we go into our one page, because I didn't even add it to the one page, which I really should have, or maybe I did, I can't remember. But there is a piece of there's a piece of healthy attachment when it does not occur during the proper time between the ages of 0 to 3. There is a piece that sort of, it messes up it's almost like the wheel doesn't go, it goes around, and then it goes like a click, click, and then it goes a click, click, and then a click, click, right? There's this little missing like tooth on the cog of the wheel or something, that what that does is it causes you to self-sabotage. So you'll be in relationship, it'll be cruising along, and you guys are all going to have a light bulb moment right about now if you're watching this channel. You'll be cruising along in a relationship and you think everything's going really, 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 really well. I always have this one little hair that drives me crazy, Bobby. You're cruising along in your relationships, whether it's, a friendship or usually a romantic relationship. And you'll be dating, and then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, you find yourself either picking a fight or finding a reason to walk away, finding a reason to not call, finding a reason to be upset, and then you convince yourself so surgically and perfectly and cleanly that you're going to be fine without that person anyway. And so no loss, it's all good. I'll just move on, no worries. And then you move on, and that's it. And you've literally sabotaged that perhaps could have been maybe healthy relationships so surgically and perfectly that no one even knows what happened. It's like days later and they're like, well, what do you mean we broke up? Like, when? What did I do? Like, can't we talk about this? I mean, I can't be alone out here. I can't tell you how many people I kicked to the curb. I mean, nice, really kind people that were, I mean, I'm thinking of one gentleman that came along when my son was a baby, and his name was Greg. And he was the sweetest guy ever. I mean, just kind and just wonderful and just over the top, just couldn't wait to just be kind. And we were cruising along and it was just fine. And then out of nowhere, I found a way to sabotage it. And I didn't realize I'd even done it until like a decade or something later. I'm like, seriously, I was like, whatever happened with Greg? He was great. Like, but I had the inability to attach in a healthy way. It was either all in, flood the relationship and be super duper 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 clingy, or I'm out. See ya.
Yeah, that's interesting. And we're going to talk about this when we do the one page, but this is a perfect time to talk about the example of what attachment, unhealthy attachment is like. This morning in chat, we talked about extremes. as survivors, we tend to be living in the land of extremes. We're either all the way over here or we're all the way over here.
Or
Or
we
heaven
were either
forbid,
being completely crap beaten out of us and horrible things happening, or we were like, oh, is this a fairy tale and awesome? My day is actually, oh, nope, here it comes again. I mean, our childhood was extreme, so it's natural
yes,
for
it was.
adulthood to be extremes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
Totally
that's okay.
hijacked your deal, but I mean, it's pretty normal at that
Exactly.
point.
We're comfortable living in extremes, and we're comfortable ping-ponging back and forth between the two of them because that was the chaos of our childhood. It doesn't feel abnormal to us. Living in extremes feels like, oh, I've been here before, love this. But, and I talk about this on the one page, I give this example, but for most of us who had that kind of pre-verbal abuse, attachment becomes a push and pull for us, okay? And the perfect example of this is, so I'm a survivor, I'm driving a car, and the car is attachment, okay? So I'm a small child, maybe I'm at daycare, and I look up, and in the door comes my abuser, who was one of my primary caregivers. Okay, attachment usually is disrupted because relationships with our primary caregiver, whether that's your mom, your dad, your grandparent, a foster mother,
Your uncle, your
and
aunt, your older
right,
sibling,
right,
whoever.
whoever it was that were your primary caregivers when you were itty bitty. Okay, so they come in through the door. Now, there's part of you that's like, oh, cool. That's my mom, dad, grandpa, sister, uncle. And you stomp on the accelerator because what you want is nothing more than to get over there and have all that wonderful awesomeness, right? But at the same time, there's that voice that says, oh no,
Watch
it's
out.
my aunt, uncle, grandfather, mom, dad, sister, brother, coach who is horrific to me. And so with the other foot, you stomp on the brake. Now here you sit and you have one foot fully, the accelerator wide open, and you have one foot so pressed on the brake that that car is not going anywhere. And that's a mixed attachment response. And it does the same thing to you that would happen with a car if you kept your foot on the engine and the brake at the same time. You are going to burn your engine out.
Yep, which
You
is
are going
also,
to,
that's what's called a double bind, and that is what causes complex post-traumatic stress disorder.
yes, and that's it. You've destroyed your attachment, and now, okay, not causably, okay, you're a small child, but they have destroyed your attachment. You can no longer, you now are looking, your attachment is nothing more than a 2-ton paperweight because it's broken. And that is how attachment comes to be broken. And that's why when we grow up as adults, we do that extremes. We're either all in or we're all out. And some of us tend to stay on one end of the spectrum more than the other. I tend to be more all out. And other people, they have their reaction varies according to what kind of relationship is presented to them. This morning, some people were talking about how they've unconsciously sought a mother figure that was loving and kind. And so when they encounter an older woman in their life who is loving and kind, they do that all in kind of thing. And yet my experience with that is all out because I don't want a mother figure. I would rather chew on a rubber shoe than have a mother figure in my life. I might go the other direct, that I might go all in for a father figure, but for a mother figure, I am so all out, I don't even register that that person is on my horizon. Does that make sense, Athena? Does that lend some understanding to that extreme ping pong, ping pong?
Oh, definitely. It makes total complete sense. And we want you guys to know that you're not alone.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, what we're talking about here, even though it seems like this, complex issue that it has all these different pieces, if you're feeling completely compelled to throw yourself in one direction, but at the same time throwing on the brakes, then you're not alone. That's okay. There's a reason that you're in that place right now. And there's no shame in that. You will never be judged ever in our community for going through that. And hello, I'm going to just share a little ray of sunshine and hope in this conversation. There are tips and strategies and tactics to heal your disrupted attachment. And we have those in our downloadable PDF resource on today's topic of attachment. So we're gonna go through our one page and discuss everything, go line by line like Bobby normally does. But we have some tips and strategies down at the bottom to help you with this. If this is all familiar to you and you're like, whoa, that's totally me. Oh, that's me. Oh, I do that. Oh, wait. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. I didn't know there was even a thing called attachment. So you're not alone.
No. Now, keep in mind that attachment itself, again, is something that happens when you're itty bitty. It's primarily the psychological world, the mental health world, primarily believes that attachment disruption, attachment damage is done when someone is between the ages of 0 and 3. And that is because attachment is meant to be something that happens as soon as you come out of the womb. It is an instinctual behavior. It is an innate drive. Okay, it's not a choice. It's not like you're coming out of the womb going, I think I might attach to somebody. Nope, it's hardwired. You do it automatically. And because it's a safety mechanism, right? As newborns, we are completely and totally vulnerable. We will not live if we do not have someone to keep us safe from not only predators, but the elements, and to have someone who will feed us and care for us. Otherwise, we'll die. And so that's what we do. That's the way that our brain has been hardwired to protect us, by attaching as soon as possible after birth to one of or both of our primary caregivers. Usually it's not more than a couple, meaning, probably not more than 3 or 4 people you might attach to. It's usually a pretty limited number. And so when something happens with you that young, and attachment is disrupted, and I'm going to say this, and I don't mean it to sound like it's hopeless, but it's really hard to fix, because it gets hardwired into your personality and your temperament and your development, your worldview. But the thing that attachment disrupts for us is the capacity to have a healthy, functional relationship. You can learn relationship skills. You can learn communication skills. You can learn boundaries. You can learn all of those things.
Yep. And those all help you.
Exactly.
They help you mend back together what is the ripped part, destroyed version of your attachment.
But if lately it's come into the news more in terms of foreign adoptions. When people adopt a child that was raised overseas, perhaps in an orphanage, or a situation where they were not given a great deal of attention. And then, despite all the love and care and nurturing that the adoptive family might give them, that child is unable to attach. And it is possible to resolve that, but let me tell you, it takes a very long time. It takes a very long time. Not that it's not possible, but it does take a very long time. You can heal your attachment. It takes a very long time, and while you're working on that, you can put into place some incredible communication, relationship, and boundary strategies, and that's what we want to really encourage you to do. The first part of the one page is exactly what it always is. Every week when we talk about a topic with you, it is informational. So here's the description. What is attachment? Why do we have it? When does it from, attachment usually builds during ages birth to 3. And again, if you don't get the proper care that you need, then your capacity to attach is disrupted and it becomes dysfunctional. And then we go down to my analogy about the brake versus the accelerator, because our attachment becomes disrupted and uneven. And then we talk a little bit here about, for those of us abused as young children, our disrupted attachment does damage to our capacity to not only attach to our caregivers, but to form healthy attachments with people into our childhood and adulthood. Instead of being able to build trusting, loving relationships with good, healthy boundaries, we have a tendency to either become clingy and excessive, obsessive, or completely aloof and without a desire to attach to anyone.
And it's so common, you guys. You're not alone.
Exactly.
So common.
That's the next statement, is the extremes are common. And again, it's not something you chose. You didn't choose to have an attachment issue. Nobody chooses anything between the ages of 0 and 3, except maybe whether or not they're going to take a nap. This isn't a choice. So please feel absolutely no shame about the fact that you might struggle with these issues. So because attachment is pre-verbal, it's really hard to heal and make healthy. But you can follow these tips and strategies to make forming healthy relationships and having healthy relationships much easier for you. And the first one, and I know we harp on this, and if you've followed us for a long time, you're beginning to understand the few things that we're going to harp on with you guys over and over again. And here it is. Ta-da! Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
One of my favorite topics ever.
Establish healthy boundaries in your life and maintain them consistently, okay? Not only boundaries for ways that you will allow people to treat you, but establish boundaries for how you will allow other people into your life. Okay, so the first time that you meet someone, don't sit down and tell them your entire life story for 8 hours and, pledge your undying love for the rest of your life. Let people earn your trust.
Yeah.
Keep your story to yourself.
Consistency is key with the boundaries, though. I mean, it really is. If you establish a healthy boundary with someone by, like Bobby was just saying, like keeping your story to yourself, it's that, please understand on the topic of attachment. If you are all in, or all out, that's not a healthy, that is not a sustainable pace for you to live your life. It is not sustainable, because if you were to go and never sleep, you would burn out. You would probably get physically ill because your body needs rest. The same thing with your. I think that there need to be healthy boundaries also, Bobby. I meant to talk with you about this and tell me what you think. We need to have healthy boundaries with ourselves.
Yes.
And what we will allow ourselves to pour out and do for others, and healthy boundaries in how we allow ourselves, what self-talk we allow into our life.
Yes. And I kind of lumped that under 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth one. Learn the wonderful art of self-compassion. Okay? Don't allow yourself to speak to yourself in a horrible way. Don't shame yourself for having attachment struggles. Don't shame yourself for seeing someone who you think might make the most incredible mother figure in the whole world, and you go running after them and chase them for miles and miles and offer them your undying love, and they look at you like you're a crazy person. Compassion. Okay? Have compassion for yourself. You've gone through some horrific things. There are things you don't know how to do. And that's okay. That's why we're here. That's why there's millions of self-help books out there. That's why there are therapists. That's why there are coaches. You can learn. So the art of self-compassion is so important. So important. We have to be kind to ourselves. And it's one of the ways that we guide others to be kind to us. Second one, learn healthy communication skills. Know how to talk with your friends, family, and romantic partners about what you want and what you need from them.
That is so hard. That is really hard. Communicating your needs, because oftentimes our needs as children were not met. If you're watching this broadcast, it's because you've survived child abuse. And the very antithesis of abuse is having your needs met. Because
Right.
children don't have a need to have the crap beat out of them or to be sexually abused and molested or neglected or starved or lent out or whatever it might be. So,
Right.
hello, communicating your needs as an adult survivor of any type of childhood abuse is terrifying. So
Yeah.
please be gentle with yourself. Please be gentle with yourself as you learn how to communicate your needs and practice in a safe environment. That's why Bobby and I have so many safe communities set up for people to come in and practice life skills in a safe environment where you will never ever be shamed or exploited or abused. You need to practice communicating your needs. I got the opportunity to communicate a need today. I got a text message from a girlfriend of mine who's having a birthday. She messaged me and said, could you please pick up so-and-so and so that you guys can carpool? I had to immediately respond and say, I am so sorry, no, I am working 7 days a week. 10, 12 hours a day. I can't take on anything else, even if it's just picking someone up. I'm sorry, no, I will not be picking anyone up, but I will be at your birthday party. And her response was, now this has taken me years, you guys. I'm making it look easy, and it's not easy.
No.
Her response was, I like your boundaries. I am so proud of you. Good job. That was her response. Hello, that's how we're going to respond to you. If you have a healthy boundary with someone, we're going to say, wow, that is a healthy boundary. I am so proud of you. Good job.
Yeah.
It takes work to establish and maintain healthy boundaries, you guys. It
And
takes a lot of
communicate them.
Oh, and to communicate them is terrifying. Oh my goodness.
Well, you know, we weren't allowed to have needs when we were a kid. And chances are, if you voiced a need, you got punished for it.
Yeah,
You
and you
know?
weren't allowed to communicate often either. You got made fun of for communicating, or like I remember anytime I would have a telephone conversation with one of my friends about something, whether it was about homework or a friend or something that I thought was important, one of my main abusers would say from across the room, drivel, drivel, drivel. All you have to say is drivel. It's all just meaningless drivel. And I didn't understand what she meant. Like I was looking up the word dribble, like you dribble a basketball or you dribble water down your chin when you take a sip of water. I didn't understand until I was in my 20s, late 20s. I'm like, oh, drivel. I get it. I thought she was just slurring her words or something. And anyway, I didn't dare ask what it meant.
Of course not.
No, are you kidding? Could you please give me the definition of the word dribble? Thank you so much. Like, it wasn't really the way it went down, you guys. So,
No.
so communicating is so terrifying when you come from an abusive family or a neglectful family or a dysfunctional family. So,
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. The next one, increase your emotional intelligence. What do we mean by that? Learn to know your feelings. Learn to express your feelings. Learn to ask people about their feelings. You know, there's sometimes you'll hear it called EQ, like IQ, intelligence quotient, EQ, emotional quotient. Learn how to identify and talk clearly about what your feelings are. And that doesn't mean we blame people for our feelings. You know, like Athena and I have talked about before, when someone says to me, you make me so mad, it makes my eyes twitch, because that's not it.
He makes me so blank. She
Yeah.
makes me so, it's like, no, you're allowing it. You're
Or you're choosing to feel that way.
correct.
That's it. Now, it's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow.
It
It
is a
can
hard
be,
pill to swallow.
but it's the reality. So, yeah. I think we've talked about that a little bit in terms of things like coping with overwhelming emotions and some of the other videos we've done.
Yeah.
Okay. And Athena talked about practicing healthy relationship skills, talk about slurring your words, in a safe, supportive community. And then The last one, develop a clear understanding of your personal attachment capabilities. Okay, observe yourself. And I can remember one of the first times I talked with Athena about this, and I've used this phrase with clients forever, and telling them to put on their anthropologist hat and observe themselves over the next week. You have to learn how to be an anthropologist of your own life. Okay, you have to learn how to stand outside yourself, and not in the bad way like you used to when you were being abused, but in a healthy way, and watch how you interact with people and how you attach. That's how I learned that my primary attachment style is to not attach. That is my, I don't want to say it's go-to because it's not a choice. I have very little attachment capacity, and I use it very sparingly because I have so little of it. It amazes me when I see people on Facebook who have 35 friends that they've had from high school. And I'm like, I think I might have 2. And I haven't actually physically talked to them or seen them in, let's see now, I graduated from high school in '84, so that would be, what, 30 years? It's just not there for me. It's not because they're not good people. It's not because they're not wonderful people. It's not because if I had a choice and I could flip a switch inside myself that gave me this enormous capacity to attach, I wouldn't. It's just not there, you know? And unfortunately,
it's not really something you can manufacture. You can
no, I can't make one out of Play-Doh.
No, you can educate yourself with those 6 bullet points that we have
Right.
on the screen right now. And if you're listening on a podcast, then you can go to traumarecoveryuniversity.com and find downloadables and look for attachment. But you can educate yourself and learn about it. But it doesn't mean that it's going to happen by osmosis and that you're instantly going to be able to just attach. It doesn't really work that way, you guys.
No.
If something was damaged from birth to 3 years old and you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s now, being mindful really, really, really helps. Being fully present really, really, really helps, because you can, like Bobby said, be an anthropologist, be a studier, know thyself. Really, really get to know yourself and know, like, for instance, I knew that I would draw close in a relationship, enjoy that relationship to the point where I felt not very vulnerable. And then the moment that that relationship would cause me to feel vulnerable in any sense of the word, especially emotionally vulnerable, to where I would actually have to approach a conflict or communicate a need, especially a deep need, like a need for safety or something like that, then I just detached immediately. It was like, it wasn't painful at all. I would be like, huh, all right, well, I'm kind of done. That's all right. I mean, I'm good. I like being single. Single's awesome. And now, I mean, I'm married to a wonderful man, and we have an excellent relationship, but it is only because I spent years by myself getting to know myself, knowing what my attachment style and capacity was, as Bobby mentioned in the 6th bullet point. And I chose to discover, learn, employ, and maintain healthy boundaries. I learned healthy communication skills. I studied the English language over and over and over and over, like every single day for 10 years. Like, I wanted to expand my vocabulary. I wanted to know how to communicate with people. I wanted to know how to act in social situations, when to say please, when to say thank you. These are things that people take for granted, but if you weren't raised in an environment where there was healthy communication going on and all you really heard were curse words, and then you show up in the workplace and not everybody curses, but you do, it's kind of like, why does she curse so much? Or I remember someone said to me one time, you kiss your baby with that mouth? And I was like, but that's how everybody talks. Like, I didn't understand that I wasn't supposed to be cursing all the time. Like, I grew up with like a lot of curse words, you guys. Like, my mom could make a sailor blush. I mean, I'm telling you. So,
Yes.
I mean,
But she had the holy water fountain in the bedroom. Was that it? Is that where it was?
oh, oh, the the holy statues.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, all the holy statues. Exactly, of course. But yeah, and I just didn't. Yeah, none of it made any sense. So,
No.
but so I didn't learn how to effectively communicate and filter my speech, and I never knew what the word socially acceptable was or meant, and I didn't even know I was supposed to care. I mean, what is that? So it takes a lot of years. I'm thinking of Pepper right now. Pepper under like Pepper was like she's a dear friend of all of ours, and she, similar situation. She didn't know what was like normal and not normal, and there was isolation, and there wasn't really like a lot of interaction with other people. And you know what? She's married to an amazing man and has a great life, and she's studied how to communicate, how to be in relationship. It just takes a lot of work. Add one more thing onto the recovery list, right? Needing to learn how to be, communicate and communicate needs and be in relationship and learn healthy boundaries and what's socially acceptable and what's normal behavior, what's not normal behavior. I mean, it's a lot of work, you guys. Recovery is a lot of work, which is why a lot of people, myself included, grow weary, and we lose hope sometimes, and we feel like all of this work is just never ever ending, and we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it is so just too much to deal with. And we're going to be segueing into our suicide one page, because I really want to wrap this up with in giving you guys, equipping you with every tool you could possibly ever need if you were in crisis, or if you are struggling with this idea of healthy attachment and you're feeling completely hopeless, and perhaps you have had suicide ideation, perhaps you have struggled with that in the past, and if you happened to stumble upon this broadcast, oh, attachment, what is this? I have a cousin with reactive attachment disorder, which, by the way, what we've discussed today is only a very small sand granule in the world of reactive attachment disorder. Reactive attachment disorder is a personality disorder that plagues many children, and it turns into sadism and psychopathy and sociopathy. That's a whole different animal, and we are not pretending to be experts in reactive attachment disorder. We are talking specifically only about attachment. I think we were really clear, but I wanted to make sure that we don't get all kinds of nasty grams. So, but we want to make sure that you're equipped with everything you need if you are experiencing any type of suicide ideation due to a lack of an ability to attach, to have healthy relationships, to communicate your needs. All of the stuff that we're talking about is extremely overwhelming, in addition to pile on top of that you could be experiencing PTSD, triggers, flashbacks. Perhaps you have social anxiety. You don't want to leave your house. You have a fear of, X, Y, and Z. There's just a pile of things that are all on the plate of the adult survivor of childhood abuse, specifically sexual abuse. So we're going to transition into our one page that's on the topic of suicide, and this broadcast obviously is going to run a bit long today. So if you're not interested in the topic of suicide, we do thank you for being here with us on the topic of attachment, and we hope we get to see you next week on our live Q&A broadcast, which is every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can just type in the hashtag on Twitter, No More Shame. You can go to YouTube, look for Trauma Recovery University, or you can tweet and watch at the same time at bit.ly/Trauma Recovery U. So take it away, Bobby. Go ahead and throw up that suicide one page, and then let's talk about the national hotline and all the other things that are involved in this.
Okay. Let's look at this.
Did you have any comments or anything on what I had just said, Bobby? I'm sorry, I didn't even.
No, I got lost on you telling me to throw up.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I meant. Could you please carefully place the one page up onto the screen of the Google Chrome?
I know. I am so tired, you guys. I'm like 10 years old right now, and I'm sitting giggling on the fact that Athena just told me to throw up. Okay, so, but I'm tired. you know, Athena and I have been fielding so many crisis messages, so many crisis texts, so much pain in our community since we found out about Soledad. So forgive me for being a little punch drunk, but I'm tired. So
you're instantly forgiven.
good.
Instantly forgiven.
I said this earlier, 40,000 deaths by suicide every year. That's one every 13 minutes. And
Oh,
there
can
are
you page up just a little bit? I can't see that part.
how's that?
I think I'm frozen. I don't know. I don't see it.
Oh,
I see that's one person. I don't see this. I don't see the top though.
I just moved it. So
Where?
hopefully.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, I see it now.
Okay. And keeping in mind that's just in the United States. That's not, we don't have world figures here. This is just in the United States. As survivors of childhood abuse, especially since our recovery, what we suffered through can be extreme and prolonged. It's rare that at some point we don't have thoughts of suicide. And sometimes we have what are called passive suicidal ideation, meaning that we're not out to cause our own death, but if a bus comes around the corner and mows us over, we would be just fine with that.
Yeah, like I was discussing earlier, like you don't really, you sort of fantasize about it, but not really. Like you're not actively wanting to, do something about it.
But active suicidal ideation is when you are planning. And that, when someone has motive, means, and opportunity, that is the most lethal kind of suicidal ideation. There is an art and here that talks about the article that I wrote, The Why Behind Suicide, that talks about the people leaping from the burning building. It's not about actually wanting to die. It's about wanting to escape horrific pain. So if you find yourself considering suicide, please seek help before your thoughts escalate into forming a plan. That is so important.
Reach out to one of us or send us a message or reach out to one of the resources that we're about ready to show you for sure. Yeah. Please don't suffer alone. You're not alone.
It's important that you do this because there is that point, if you guys will remember me talking about my suicide attempt, there is that point where you go from planning to having made the decision and feeling relief that you're soon going to be free of the pain, where you are so unlikely to reach out. Ask for help beforehand. Ask for help when it feels like the thoughts are overwhelming, okay? That's the time to ask. No, don't let yourself, okay, well, I'll ask, tomorrow. I'll ask in 24 hours. Maybe not. So ask now. Get help now before it feels worse.
Yeah. And you didn't stumble across this broadcast by accident. I mean, if you're hearing this message and it resonates with you, please, please, please know that this message was just for you. Just for you. Only you.
If you feel suicide, and this is an important point, and I say this a lot to survivors, and it doesn't always sit well, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you feel suicidal frequently, to me, as a helping professional, as the therapist, and a trauma recovery coach, that's an indication to me that you are not getting the kind of assistance, medication, or support that you need. Okay? You need either more frequent support, you need more frequent therapy, you need a different medication, you need more or different kind of assistance. You should not be feeling suicidal on a frequent basis. You just shouldn't. And so if you are, I would really encourage you to sit down with someone safe and supportive and look at what you're getting, what you're receiving in your mental health world, and see what you can do to change things. If someone tells you they're feeling suicidal, sit with them. Make phone calls for them if they don't have the strength to make the phone call for themselves. If they need to, help them call 911 or take them to the emergency room. Especially if their thoughts are at a high level, meaning they have a plan, they have the means to execute the plan, and they are highly intent. Okay, so they have a plan, they have means, they have intent. And there's your suicide resources. RAIN, which is at 1-800-656-HOPE. And they also have a crisis chat feature on their website, rain.org. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-TALK, 8255. National Suicide Lifeline's crisis chat also has, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline also has a crisis chat feature, and that is at crisischat.org. Okay, now here's a different number for the Samaritans, and I don't know what to say to you about that.
It's because it's specific for suicide and not sexual abuse.
Okay. So the suicide resource for the Samaritans is it 116123?
116123 is for sexual abuse.
So this is the suicide resource.
Correct.
For the Samaritans. Okay. And I have been told that the Samaritans, if you are unable to go out and get help, they can send someone to you, which is just phenomenal, awesome.
Yes, and so the phone, and there's a different phone number, and then there's a different text message number.
What's the text message number for?
For if you want to text them rather than call them, like, and I have the other text feature for the National Suicide Prevention. I have their text message line as well. I need to find that, but for the Samaritans, if you're suicidal, if you're in Ireland or UK, you can dial 0847 08457 909090, or you can text them at 07725 909090. But if this is sexual abuse related, you dial 116123.
Okay, so the ones that we have on the one page are valid for suicide.
Correct.
Okay, there we go. And again, reach out before you get to the point where you have given up, and have an intensive plan. And if someone that you love is feeling suicidal, stick with them, sit with them, help them get the help that they need as soon as possible. I think that's it.
Yeah. The topic for next week, Bobby, is pregnancy, and pregnancy. This is sort of a wide topic, but I want to sort of prep everyone that because we have people that are tuning in live right now and tweeting live, and just give you guys a heads up. So pregnancy, it's twofold on our talk next week. Our whole week is dedicated to pregnancy, and that is when women become pregnant as a result of their childhood sexual abuse. I had someone just email me this morning, or maybe it was yesterday. She got pregnant on purpose when she was a child so that her abuse would stop. So we're going to talk about pregnancy as a result of your childhood sexual abuse. And we are also going to piggyback on that and talk about pregnancy and how it can be triggering in adulthood for adult survivors of childhood abuse.
Right, and especially
childhood sexual abuse.
Right, and specifically talk about ways that you can have a conversation with your obstetrician or midwife about your abuse, so that you can have as trauma-free and as comfortable of a birth experience as possible.
And trauma-free and comfortable as possible pregnancy, as
yes.
trigger-free pregnancy. That should be a book. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we want to cover all of those topics. Pregnancy is a really broad topic, but we want to just give you the heads up and let you know, feel free to Google, feel free to research, go on Wikipedia, go on Yahoo, go on Bing, go and, look up on the Washington Post, HuffPo, whatever you want to do, and join the conversation. Send us messages. Let us know what you found, the information you found. And if you're not in a place where you can, that you have time to do that, that's totally fine. We just want to encourage you to just come alongside us, have these conversations that are worth having, and make a difference in the lives of other people that are going through recovery from this trauma from their childhood. So So that's
Yeah,
our topic for next week. Did I forget anything, Bobby?
no, I just wanted to add in, Athena and I are painfully aware that there are not enough trauma-informed helping professionals out there to help all of the survivors. There just aren't. And the only way that we are going to get all the help that's necessary to all the survivors is if we, as survivors, raise up our own leaders, raise up people within our own community who are going to help others. Much along the lines of kind of the Alcoholics Anonymous group, where they lend a lot of support and recovery assistance to their peers. So we welcome anyone who wants to do the research, who wants to join in the conversation, no matter how hard it is, and become a leader in their local community. Because that, I think, is where we're going to find the groundswell of hope and help that all of the survivors out there need.
Yeah, we even had one of our members this morning offer to make us an infographic. He makes a lot of infographics for us. But whatever your gifting is, your spiritual gifting, your natural gift and talentedness that you were born with, and if you have a heart to volunteer, then please just reach out to someone in your local community. Let us know if there's something that we can welcome you in and give you something very specific to do. We have one of our members that's actually helping us with a project right now. Two people actually that we just met with that are very specifically skilled in a very, very small, specific area, very like narrowed down niche of their skill set. And it fits perfectly into what it is that Bobby and I are doing. So I realize that what we do here every single week and what we're doing with the adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse community is not something that's been done or being done. And I realize that it feels a little unorthodox sometimes, but you know what? We're not giving up. We're not giving up. We're not activists, like let's go burn something or whatever. But we are fierce advocates for you guys, for you survivors out there, because chances are no one's ever really stood up for you, stuck up for you throughout this time. And we want to let you know that we're here and we're sticking up for you. And there is a huge need. It's obvious. This started out with just a few people. And now here we are, 54 countries and several thousand people later. We know that you guys need this trauma-informed care. We know you need these resources. We know you love these broadcasts. We know that you want to be in healthy, safe community with one another, helping one another, healing, moving on with your life so that you're not stuck anymore. We want to help, and we're here, and we're so excited that you've spent this 60, 90 minutes with us. So we value your time. We value each and every one of you. And for myself, Athena Moberg, and for my esteemed colleague, amazing partner in all things awesome, Bobby Parrish, we just want to thank you. And we want to encourage you to reach out anytime. Please look in the comments below. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. And if you think it may help anyone, just click the share button, share it with anybody. Let them know that they're welcome any week. Leave us some comments below. We can't wait to touch base with you guys. And until next week, thank you for being here. I'm Athena Moberg, and this is Bobby Parrish, and we love to bring you everything you need for healthy, informed trauma recovery. Aloha, everybody.